As you may have guessed from the last video, we are now moving into the Poison and Bone tree, one of the more straightforward but still useful groups of skills in the game. Starting with the bone skills, we have 3 attack options: Teeth, Bone Spear, and Bone Spirit, each providing a different utility to the Necromancer. Starting with Teeth, we have the Shotgun skill, and as with most shotgun skills, like multi-shot, shockwave, etc., the area of effect we hit will vary depending on where we aim. Close to our character providing a wider spread, further away from the character providing a more concentrated spread. This brings us to the biggest misconception about the skill, and that is whether you can point blank a creature for more damage, like sorceresses do with, say, Charge Bolt, or Amazons with Charge Strike. Unfortunately, you cannot, because Teeth has a built-in next delay feature that prevents the monster from being hit twice by the skill within about 1/6 of a second, which is enough to stop the other Teeth in a single shot from dealing damage. Now, you may see additional Teeth destroyed, since they do pop on collision, but only one of them is doing damage. As far as how much damage that is, it's actually not terrible for an AoE attack, and being pure magic damage means that there's only a few types of enemies that will resist or even be immune to it. But it also means you don't have any way of piercing or reducing that resistance either, since there are no skills that will reduce enemies' resistances to magic, just like there's no way other than points to boost the damage of the bone skills themselves. On to the big brother, and probably the most popular bone skill, we have Bone Spear. Well known for its guaranteed piercing ability, this is usually the go-to for bone necromancers, as their main attack at least, only ever using Teeth or Spirit for special situations. This is because while Spear shines in the corridors, it is still an easy way to deal decent damage to multiple targets by lining them up either by kiting them or by using bone prisons and walls to create your own barricades and mazes and tunnels. And just like Teeth, Bone Spear is strictly magic damage, and it focuses on dealing damage to crowds, albeit in straight lines rather than clusters this time. And thanks to its generally cheaper cost, it can even be preferred over Spirit due to doing some decent damage even to single targets. This is also partially due again to the only way to boost the damage of any of these skills is with more points invested in the skill and its synergies. So the small difference in damage going to Spirit is usually not worth it, since it cannot be amplified. Speaking of Bone Spirit though, we have a rather iconic skill that has sadly been hit by the nerf hammer a few too many times to really be super viable against monsters, though it is still kind of key in its role in PvP. Specifically, Spirit is intended to be a relatively high magic damage single target homing attack, though in practice, its main use is a herding tool in PvP to get people to walk into your spears and teeth due to its damage being far too similar to that of Spear without the piercing. Now you may be asking if the homing makes up for it. Unfortunately, no. Since the homing change in an early Lord of Destruction patch, the homing only works if the player can already see the monster. So in general, in situations where Spirit works, Spear can work too. And since the homing perks, such as targeting bosses over minions and passing through monsters to hit the targets themselves, work just as fine with Spear as well, it's kind of not really that great, because you can literally just click Spear on the boss and have it do pretty much the same thing while damaging the minions. Now damage-wise, as I've hammered home a few times now, Spirit is only so impressive, since none of the bone skills can really be boosted, and enemy resist to magic damage cannot be reduced, so generally I only use Spirit to focus down a specific enemy if I'm feeling too lazy to aim, or if I just need that little bit of extra damage and don't care about mana. So do you have a favorite skill in the Poison Bone tree? Mention it down below, and as always, a special thanks to the channel patrons, members, and Twitch subscribers for making this content possible.